So the subject is, again, for thermography, for detection of elevated body temperature, technical and legal aspects. And why? Why this subject? Because, as Sector mentioned, we are witnessing every day an avalanche of situations like this. This is the same picture that Hector has used. This is another one from Autorevista, from TSA factory in Zaragoza. And this is the record one. So somebody measuring elevated skin temperature with someone wearing glasses and wearing a mask. So I wonder what the camera is. Well, apart the resolution of this camera is not good enough. We will go through this in the next slides. But well, there are a lot of magic systems in the market at very cheap prices, of course, that are good for nothing, just very basic. So, well, we will go more in depth into what do you need to know if you want to use the right system for these very, very specific application. There are some players in the market that have been manufacturing this kind of cameras since 2003, since the first SARS pandemic. And there are a lot of newcomers, new players that are promising, well, miracles, and that they haven't read or they are even not aware of the international standards that apply to this kind of standards, to this kind of product, and the mode of operation. So, well, just a quick glimpse of what we do at BCB. We specialize in thermographic engineering solutions for industry and research. We apply data acquisition, machine vision, mainly infrared, but also natural vision, hyperspectral 3D. We work with big data, artificial intelligence, and we develop our own software platform related to infrared vision, where we can integrate also other components, other systems. That's the BCB monitor, and we have actually developed a new version of this BCB monitor that has been for a long time in the market, in the industry and research mainly. We have developed our own variety, we can say, for elevated skin temperature that we call BCB TempScan. BCB research. Just I will go very briefly through this. I know you're not interested in the company, but the technical and legal aspects of thermography. But it's my book, so I have to read it. It's well, we concentrate mainly in automation industry, research, development, thermal concentration power plants. Just some examples of what thermography can do within Industry 4.0, and just for you to know, the typical precision of thermographic camera, an advanced thermographic camera, an extensive thermographic camera, well, depending if you compare value or price. But the typical precision is about +-2 Celsius degrees. For this kind of applications, we're using the best cameras of the best manufacturers. So when I see a Chinese newcomer promising 0.3, 0.5 in cheap solutions, well, I can cast serious doubts about the accuracy, about the fake fancy brochures using Hector's words for the fraudulent advertising that we are being subject to. So just one point, a good thermographic camera has a normal precision of +-2 Celsius degrees. So, well, yeah, similar applications. And also we have been working in medical applications, not only industry. For example, for the control of diabetes mellitus, the diabetic food, skin burns, brown fat, grasa parda in Spanish, psychology or cancer. So we have some experience in this field. And as I mentioned, we have developed the BCB TempScan variant of our additional industrial software, specifically designed for the detection of elevated body temperature following the international standards that we will mention now. Yes, okay. So everybody has been very reluctant at the beginning, working about the World Health Organization, Organización Mundial de la Salud, about, yes, it is a pandemic recently. Okay, now we have the biggest pandemic in history. So thanks, World Health Organization, for not having taken all the necessary measures. Well, that's another issue. So regarding this specific subject, we have organized already 3 webinars by BCB, customers, collaborators. And these are the dates of these 3 webinars. April the 1st, April the 23rd, and May the 14th. So the first one, there were 464,000 confirmed cases in the world. On May the 14th, there were roughly 1,800,000 confirmed cases. Well, you can see the situation in numbers in different globally, the Western Pacific region, European. So the situation has been, has worsened day by day. Now we face a dramatic situation, and also the authorities, if we can call them that, they claim that there will be another, well, in October, November, there will be another boost of new cases. So everybody is in panic. And among these, well, the many different miracles that that many people are offering, we can find thermography cameras or presumed thermography cameras everywhere, in every place. And I will say 99% of them are not meeting the standard, the requirements for this kind of specific application, detection of elevated body temperature in humans. So infrared thermography is actually a useful tool to prevent the spread of COVID-19, as it was in previous pandemics, the SARS in 2003, but later on there was avian influenza, the swine flu, the MERS in the Middle East, the Ebola, and now the COVID-19. Okay, fantastic. So there are some players and manufacturers of cameras that have been working since the beginning in these specific applications. And as I mentioned, as there is a boom now, everybody wants to make money out of tragedy. So there are a lot of players selling, well, I will not use the word shit, but I am thinking about it. So thermography is a useful tool, as a fast, simple, and non-contact method. Sorry about my voice. If the correct cameras and software are adequately used. So underlining the correct cameras, the correct firmware or software, and the correct method of operation. If not, it's good for nothing, actually. It can create panic. It can make you blush if you go into a department store and you are refused to come in because you are presumably ill. But, well, so it's very important to focus on both matters, technical and the legal aspects. And just if a thermography camera detects elevated body temperature, it doesn't mean that you have a coronavirus. I have even seen publicity saying, okay, we sell cameras for the detection of coronavirus. Nice. I'm just missing some fake ads selling, okay, we are selling cameras that will cure the coronavirus. Okay, so if you have elevated body temperature, it can mean that you have coronavirus, of course, but also normal influenza, or that you may have the MERS or the SARS or tuberculosis or many other illnesses that come with that are associated with elevated body temperature. But also, as Victor mentioned, it doesn't mean that you're ill. It may mean, for example, that you have been just staring at the sun for some time. So, what is the use of some sophisticated elements we are seeing, like, for example, what Victor mentioned regarding the black body? We'll go through this as well. So there is a standard, the ISO TR 13154, that was developed in 2003 and has suffered, of course, many updates, modifications. And it is the specification that applies to this kind of thermographic cameras for identifying febrile humans using a screening thermographic camera. So there are some definitions of what is a thermographic camera. It is also linked to the IEC, International Electrotechnical Committee 8601-259, where it states that temperature must be measured in the inner canthus of the eye, for example, or that the precision of this kind of device must be of lower than plus minus 0.5 in the range of 34 to 39 Celsius degrees, and many other things regarding the technical specifications and mode of operation that most of these miracle manufacturers do not meet. So their systems are worth for nothing, both regarding the specifications and the mode of utilization. So this is well, the typical mode of operation. individuals in line. The infrared camera operator, who must be a trained one, looks at the monitor showing an out of norm body temperature, and that doesn't mean that a person is ill. So we can use just a quick measure to send these people to further screening by a healthcare professional. So if the camera says, okay, you have elevated the skin temperature, it doesn't mean, hey, you are ill. So no, you're not allowed to enter. No, it's not so easy as that. So, well, as I mentioned, the ISO tier 13144 defines the minimum characteristics that a thermal imager must fulfill. There is also the other standard is in 8601 that specifies that the minimum resolution must be 240 multiplied by 180. But all experts recommend at least a resolution of 320 multiplied by 240 pixels to be able to measure the temperature, as Hector mentioned, in the inner campus of the eye correctly. We need a minimum resolution for that. It's important as well to add a screening function, excluding peaks and fluctuations, to obtain the required precision that can be incorporated in the camera itself through firmware or externally through software. Regarding thermal sensitivity, it must be less than 30 millikelvin or less than 40, depending on the type of lens. Also, the spatial resolution must allow monitoring from 1.5 to 3 meters, depending on the type of camera you're using. And also, it is recommended to have, of course, an adjustable focus for greater precision on the measurement. So, just a few questions and answers. How does this technology work? So, well, thermal cameras detect heat radiation. So, everybody, not only human bodies, everything emits heat in the sorry, I have some problems with all this. Well, okay. So the thermal cameras can detect these differences in the skin surface temperatures, and also detect any changes related to the average or to the median, to the standard. Just one point: there is the most demanding body regarding specifications for this kind of camera is the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, and there are very few manufacturers approved by the FDA. And none of them is from Chinese or from the Far East, as mentioned as well. So how can we perform temperature screening? One person at a time. Just if you see, hey, we can detect elevated skin temperature in groups of people. No, wrong. They are lying to you. Of course, you can measure temperature, but we are not measuring the right temperature. So also the distance is important. If you are further away, you will lose the resolution, precision in the measurement. So depending on the camera, normally we'll stand at 1.5, 2 meters. And also you have to measure near the tear duct. It's the part of the body where temperature is more stable, we can see, forgetting about the mouth and ears for practical reasons. And also for this, you have to remove glasses. If you see a picture showing people wearing glasses and detecting temperature, just scrap it. They are lying to you again. They are pirates. Sorry to be so frank, so open. But they, or at least we will say, they are not fulfilling the international specifications. So being in the political correct side. Also, it is important to be at the right distance, depending on the camera, the minimum focus distance. And you have to adjust also the external parameters and also the parameters of the camera, the sensitivity, for example, the focus. You have to select also the right alarm threshold, the temperature range, is 35.7 Celsius degrees. And well, just very briefly, and also regarding the black body, as has already been mentioned by Hector, there are advantages and disadvantages. This is what FLIR is stating regarding black body. So in theory, you will have a calibration system associated to the camera. So from my point of view, if you need a calibration system associated to the camera, it means that the camera is not good enough. And it will also add some complexity to the users or to the user of the system that will normally be a security guard. who is not very trained about how to set up and control this kind of devices, and also who is assuring you that the black body is correctly calibrated, especially if we buy one at 100 euros. Sometimes the black body is more expensive than the camera. We're speaking about several thousand of euros. So I wouldn't recommend the black body. You can use it, of course, and many cameras are prepared to use the black body integration, but it can add more complexity to the system. So there are some solutions available in the markets, both for handheld cameras, automatic cameras, and they can also communicate with other devices, for access control. You can also easily set up alarms, thresholds, visual audible alarms. We can measure it contactless at a safe distance. It is very easy to configure, use, integrate with other existing systems like thermostat gates, for example. It is quick, it is precise. Again, I must underline if the adequate systems are properly used. Just always think of this ISO TR 13154. It has been specifically designed for this kind of application. I remember I asked Chinese maker, do your products meet this specification? He replied, we meet, two other specifications that were actually the electromagnetic compatibility specifications. I replied, of course, if not, you wouldn't be able to authorize to sell your products in Europe. But I am mentioning the specification for detection of elevated body temperature in humans. So the answer was just silence. So no answer. They don't meet this specification. Well, of course, reliability, if the right systems are used, and especially if the systems are approved by the FDA, it's an additional guarantee that you're using the right system. And with additional software like BCB Scan, you can control, visualize several cameras at a time. So that's from the technical side. But you will also be curious about the legal side. So this is from the Telecinco reporter at the IFEMA with a Chinese camera manufacturer. So publicity, this camera is able to measure temperature of 3 people at a time per second and at a distance of 3 meters. Okay, nice. Yes, it measures temperature, but not the right temperature. So in this case, the reporter was ill according to the measurements. So what shall we do? Do not enter. If I go into a department store and the camera, a wrong one in most cases, tells that I have a high temperature, that I have a fever, I will not be allowed to enter that department store or hotel or school or whatever. It's not so easy like that. In this case, actually, the reporter was not ill, just he had been under a lamp for some time, and his temperature, his forehead temperature probably was higher than the standard. That's why we should measure in the inner canthus of the eye. Okay, now regarding legal aspects, there is what we call the Estatuto de los Trabajadores and the Ley de Protección de Riesgos, Ley de Prevención de Riesgos Laborales in Spain. There will be similar regulations in different European countries. So regarding work, it's important to have in consideration the state of the technique, the state of the art of the technique. So thermographic cameras, to this respect, are a good preventative measure. We should also adopt initiatives and measurements that in which collective protection prevail against individual protection. So again, a thermal camera is a right system for this. And also regarding Article 22, it's important to respect always the dignity of the person, of the worker, and the confidentiality of all this information. And this, for example, if I go together with a group of co-workers and the camera says, hey, you are possibly ill, it's quite an embarrassing situation. And also the data related to the control of health of the workers cannot be used against the workers. So okay, it's a first week screening, so you can go to a secondary, more precise screening. but it's not a remedy, it's not a solution. It don't say this person is ill, this person isn't. And again, this data cannot be stored. And the only person in a company that have access to the health data of the workers are the MUTBA, what we call the health service. So the company owners are not allowed to have a specific data about the health of the workers. Also regarding, that's regarding access to work centers. Can you refuse? The quick answer is no. But you must check that the system that is being used is meeting the right specifications. If not, complain against your employer, because he's putting at risk your health and the health of all your coworkers. So we should be more careful with this. Not any camera is suitable for this application, and not any mode of operation. And also the AIPD, Agencia Española de Protección de Datos, Data Protection Spanish Agency, has issued a special report regarding the use of thermographic cameras by shops, work centers, and other facilities. And there is the principle of legality, and the system must have all the adequate guarantees. We have also what we call the derecho de admisión in España, the right of admission, the right of access. But in theory, a department store or a school could forbid you coming in if you have elevated body temperature. But there are some also, and it has to be warned that they are being screened, and also the system. I underline this one, and you should use the adequate systems to be able to register with accuracy the relevant intervals of temperature, using only approved equipment for this specific application, which puts out 99% of the systems that are being put in the market.